Hello, it's June 8th at 1 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting to order. I have a motion to call this to order. Thank you. All right, roll call. Here we go. So Anna, I see you. Anna, there. Chris, here. All right. Craig Addison.
Here.
Ed.
Here.
And then I saw Lisa, she was on. And Robert, I see you're on from the Public Works. Okay, perfect. All right. Approval of minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes from the May 11th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passed. 100%. Announcements. So first off, I want to announce that member Heidi Owens had to resign unexpectedly last minute. She is moving back to Seattle. So we have another position open now, so that leaves 2. So that's my announcement. She was also our note taker. She was our secretary. So we're going to need to figure out who wants to take that on, number 1, or number 2 option is we can do a rotation. I'm good taking notes today for sure. I just think that we need to either rotate it or get one person.
I usually keep notes, so happy to take that on too.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
From going forward or starting today?
Going forward.
Got it.
Feel
No
like I
problem.
need to get done today still. So.
No problem. All right, so I will do notes today and going forward. Thank you, Addison, for doing that going forward. So, all right. So, Sarah, did anybody have a comment?
I didn't receive any written comments,
Okay.
and I do believe the phone number on here is on Anna.
Oh, and I see Anna, but then there's another one.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
her
that's
audio is coming through there.
Got it. All right, perfect. So no public comment. Okay. Old business, Parks Foundation. Ed.
Parks Foundation, no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, we have, I went last Wednesday and expedited our Washington State nonprofit, drove to Olympia, was the only one there. In 20 minutes, we had our paperwork for the Washington State nonprofit. That is done. Here is our receipt for the Secretary of State. I sent that to Bob Finney, who's doing our IRS. He in turn has submitted all the paperwork to the IRS, and as of today, we have an EIN number. So it will still take a month for the paperwork to finalize, but I was informed by both the Washington State Secretary of Washington State and by Bob Finney that we are legal to open up a bank account to start collecting donations.
Cool.
So we're ready to roll. The rest is just a formality. It's just a matter of time, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and we'll get the final letter from the IRS, and we'll be done. So there you go. This is yours, and I made a copy for. I sent everything to Lisa since she's on the board, and I have a copy here for Sarah.
Do we know what bank we're gonna use?
Had no clue. So I use Timberland for my Parents for Poor and Orphan Children Foundation. They don't charge me anything. I am working right now with the farmers market. I don't know if you've heard about that. There's a move to put a farmers market together back here in town. They're going to have their kickoff on July 4th, I believe.
Yeah.
At the Lions
So are
Club.
they using Timberland as well?
And I'm working with Lori, and she wants to use Twin Star. Twin Star, because they also do free accounts, okay? And I'm fine with that. It makes no difference to me.
Do you have a contact at Timberland?
I do. I mean, gosh, I've known those people now for 8 years, you
I
know?
don't think it matters what bank if you have a contact, just.
Yeah,
Well, and it's handy if you, so you
Yeah.
do that, you know.
it's just bringing in the paperwork,
Yep.
okay? What we need to figure out before we do that, we have 3 board members, right?
Yep.
Which I think is fine. I mean, we can add a 4th board member if we choose so down the road. but legally, 3 is all we need.
Okay.
Okay, but somebody has to be the secretary, somebody has to be the treasurer, somebody has to be the president.
Okay,
I prefer not to be the secretary or the treasurer.
okay, that's fine.
So I think we should do checks to simplify things. I don't think we should do dual signatures on checks. I mean, it complicates things. If you have to the Washington State for our taxes, do you really want to have to get together and do that? But I'm open. I'm open. to
I don't
suggestions.
mind the two signatures.
I
I was a
think
checks
it's-
and balance.
It's like
It
a
just
safety net.
I actually
Okay.
prefer that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so-
do too. I think it keeps everybody honest.
Okay, I just don't think we're going to be raising the kind of money
Yeah.
that anybody's gonna run out from Mexico with, but I'm good, I'm good with that.
You're probably not wrong, but
Yeah,
I
But
mean,
I'm fine with that, so I think it should be, the treasurer and myself, or it could be the treasurer and the secretary, I don't know.
okay, we can figure that
So,
out.
I am used to doing filings for the IRS because I've been doing it for 10 years for CPOC.
Okay.
And I have no problem continuing to do that,
Okay,
okay? So,
maybe you, Lisa, and I can talk
yeah,
offline and figure it out, so.
yeah. So I think the thing to do is the 3 of us should get together sometime and just do outside the Parks Board meeting and talk about
Okay.
this way to move forward with the foundation.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, really.
Let me know when you want to do that.
Okay, it's up to everybody else, I'm just one.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Ed. I
You're
know that
welcome.
was a lot of work and I really appreciate that because it's gonna make a big difference for us.
How fast can we become part of the, cash registers around town with the,
We can actually do it as of right now.
and how do we do that?
Okay, so we have to form some kind of committee, and it doesn't just have to be board members. We can bring in other people for a committee to help us do that, to talk, if anybody knows who's in charge of IGA, I think I have a connection with Steve over at Buck Hardware or Electric. And then, of course, there is Bruni Liquor, they do that, and so does the pharmacy, the new pharmacy.
And so does the dormouse. And the dormouse said that she would do it for us via
Okay.
Highway One, so.
All right, so whatever, we may have to stand in line for the bigger ones, okay, like ACE and IGA.
Well, they seem to rotate them, like
They
a
do.
week apiece.
They
type thing.
do, but they have so many requests between the food bank and the senior center.
Sure,
So we'll just have to be patient, okay, but it shouldn't hurt us from, for example, showing up at this booth there at the Sand and Sawdust and having a jar out, okay, this is support the Parks Foundation, okay? At this point, it is certainly tax deductible for the state, and it's only a matter of a few weeks before all of that, now we're 100% tax deductible.
So just a question on the Sand and Sawdust Festival, since the Parks Board and the foundation are separate entities and the booth is through the Parks Board, is that any issue?
Well, we
The
do
Parks
kind of work
Foundation.
together. I don't know if that's an issue.
I can ask. I'll
You
find
know,
out.
my hope is that we can include, since you're building a website for the Parks Board, that we can include a small blurb for the Parks Foundation and maybe add a donate button. So that's my hope, that we can get together, because we really are.
Do
So
what?
one of the things there is like, I would like to see some sort of formal relationship then between the Parks Board or the Parks and the Parks Foundation, like written out somewhere. Just because otherwise it's like 2 separate entities that are kind of interacting, so it'd be nice to see that relation
And how will we do that?
by writing out how the Parks Board and the Parks
You know,
Foundation are interacting with
in
each
our-
other.
In our comp plan?
Or kind of both in the bylaws of the
Okay.
Well,
foundation. and
we
then
will
on the
need,
park
we will
side.
need to put bylaws together. That
Yeah.
will come.
Exactly, so
Okay.
this is part of that, incorporate like a part about the relationship between the Parks Board and the Parks Foundation. If the Parks is gonna be representing this foundation, yet the foundation is separate and operated by a separate board of directors.
Yes,
Does that make sense?
yes, it does. So can you help us with that?
I agree.
I'll help on behalf of the Parks Board. I can't do it on behalf of the Parks Foundation because I'm not part of the foundation. So I'm here to be a member of the Parks Board, and I think there's avenues through the city that we can still explore.
I want
my
to be
interest
part of
is
the Parks
working.
Foundation.
Yes, but my interest is understanding and working through the available options through the city that could potentially open up much more funding in the long run.
Okay, so Lisa, do you have any thoughts on that?
Thoughts in terms of, it's hard, I don't know if you guys have a microphone, but I'm having struggle hearing.
Okay.
Okay, we're trying to figure out a way to incorporate the foundation, even though it's a separate entity, but to make it work with the parks, board. And so that we can work together even though we're separate. Am I saying that
Yeah,
right?
all it is writing down like relationship.
I think that would probably be an item we could ask the city attorney about.
That would be great, okay?
I
That
think
would,
that's beyond my, my expertise on that, but you want to know formally how the two can work together?
and how we can maybe fundraise together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. That shouldn't be an issue. I know in the, I'm gonna just use Aberdeen's example. They have a museum board that's appointed by the city, and then they also have the Friends of the Museum, which is a nonprofit, and they do work together. So it shouldn't be an issue, but we'll get clarification from Corporation Counsel for the city.
Not so much of it being a legal issue, it's just having it written somewhere that explains that relationship, because it already exists with the,
Library.
well, both with the library and with the interpretive center.
Yes.
And that's operated by a nonprofit.
A lot of that will be brought out in your articles of incorporation and your bylaws once those are complete as part of this nonprofit process. So a lot of what you're asking for, I think, will be ferreted out once that is complete.
Thank you.
That's kind of, and Lisa's on the
Yeah.
foundation. So, all right, so I think Craig is happy. Okay,
I have a question about different donations into the foundation. What if a couple people in town say, I want to donate $500 to the dog park? Instead of just to just a bank account.
Well, it's the relationship between the donation and what the park's property and then what the foundation's able to do and donate. So it's like, that would have to be broken out and managed by the Parks Foundation.
So what I do with my foundation, CPOC in Cambodia, we actually have two projects. We dig wells, okay, we've completed 24 community wells, and we have a school program. So people can donate to either or, and I keep it separate, okay? So, but I can
Just in a
only,
ledger?
I keep it separate in a ledger, and if somebody donates $800 to build a well, that $800 goes to build a well. I put it on the ledger what the money is for,
Okay.
okay? But it's difficult to do if people have 20 different ideas of what they want the money to go to.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Somebody wants a dog park, somebody wants a dog, somebody wants a
Yeah.
handicapped access. That's too difficult. They have to,
I'm just thinking about the people at the cash register at IGA, and we have that little, this week's,
round up.
park board,
Okay.
yeah. And it's like, should we make it the dog park down?
We could at times, we could make it for, would you like to donate to the Parks Foundation for a dog park? Okay, or we could just simply make it, would you like to donate, round up to the Parks Foundation for our local parks and wildlife? Okay, so I mean, we could do it in different ways. It might be fun to do it one way one time and another way
I
another
think
time.
we should probably have the city clear message though, too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do.
I don't want
Right-
people
right
to
now-
bunch of people.
Might be,
Oh.
then that gives them an expectation of, well, I donated to the dog park, and that was 2 years ago, we're still in that dog park. That's what I think.
Well, I think as we go forward, I think, communication's gonna be key, so I think it'll.
Well, I think we're already starting to get ourselves, out there.
Well, that leads us to community outreach if we're done with the foundation.
Yes. I think
Okay,
so.
so next up is community outreach. So we are all set to go for the San Ensadas Festival at the end of June. Chris is taking the 12:30 to 3 o'clock slots each day, so thank you very much, Chris, appreciate that.
I'll try not
So-
to mess it up.
And then I got the information from the two of you, so I'll get you on the schedule for that, so thank you. Did the Democracy, have it in the car to give to you, so that's all good to
Perfect.
go. I'm not sure if any of you were listening at 9 o'clock this morning, but Ed got us a few spots on the radio.
Yeah.
Did you miss? Good job.
What?
Did you miss it?
I was in a meeting.
But you didn't miss much.
That was
Ed,
very good.
Ed was nice enough to get us 3 spots to do
Cool.
our radio, about 30 minutes on the radio to get our message out. So thanks, Ed, I appreciate that. So I did the first one. I know you're gonna take one of those dates, and Craig, I was hoping you could take another if it works.
Yeah.
With your schedule.
Well, if I have all this stuff, I mean, it's probably easiest for me to go the first day. Well, it depends on how many days are morning,
Well-
because I'm available Saturday or Friday and Saturday, Sunday I'll be out.
Okay, so it's up in the radio. Did you
Oh,
want to
the
take one of the
radio.
radio spots? Can you do that?
What time's the radio?
Like 9 o'clock in the morning. I can't remember the 2 days you gave
It
me. I have to look
depends on
back.
the days I can look at,
Okay.
like I have that. on
I
my
know
email.
the 23rd is one, which is Tuesday, and that's just prior to, I already have a radio show on Tuesday.
Okay, so you want to
noon.
do the other one? Okay.
So, I mean, I'd be willing, no, it doesn't matter to me. I'll do either one. If need be, I'll do them both.
Okay.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I
Um,
just have to look at
Okay.
my calendar for work.
All right, so we did that, and I know we've got the Survey Monkey account, so Sarah said that she's gonna put that together once the,
Yep, and I'll get that over to her.
Great.
Just wrapping up some of the kind of the formatting
Yep.
part.
yep, and then, and also Sarah, I think you said that the survey can go out on the city's website as well.
Yeah.
Which is perfect. I think the only thing that I have, I've got a blow up of the parks map coming as well.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah,
I was seeing that as a visual for people.
Yeah.
That was
20 by 30.
good.
And will we have enough, will we have a few hundred to pass out?
Well, so I did a big blow up of the map for the Democracy.
Okay.
And then that was my next thing was I need to make a handout that's going to have information about the survey, what we're doing and things like that. And there's probably gonna be a lot of pages to that, a lot of handouts, at least 500 probably. Should I just ask Dunsires to print those for us at that point, or does the city want to do that? Sarah, it's a lot, it's a big one.
I'd have to see,
Yeah,
and then if I can't, then I would send it to Dunsires for you guys.
okay, all right, so,
Can we do the map on the front and the survey on the back? Do we need more than one sheet?
You could do like a half sheet with
Yeah.
the map and just a link, say, go to the city's website. The link will be hosted on the city's website. Typically, people are really suspicious if you just give them a link and they won't type it in. But if it's an easy link, like go to the Ocean Shores website and then take our survey, then people can find it really easily and just direct people back to the same website.
Then we can do a full-size map. and
Is,
just press-
is there a way? Is there a way to maybe put a QR code on there to the survey?
I think there's free QR code generators. So yeah, that's really easy to do.
Yeah, a lot of old people aren't gonna be able to do that.
Well, you have that next to other
Right, okay.
information that just directs people to the city's website. Or you can scan the QR code and go directly to
No,
the survey.
I use QR codes, but not everybody does.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't.
You have to have a relatively new phone. I'm picturing people actually taking a picture of this parks map, over their phone to take with them, so, they're out and about, they can reference. the
That's a
parks.
good idea. Can recommend people do that.
Yeah.
It'll be big forward.
Yeah, so I think, so, yeah, our ad hoc committee got together and we hammered out all the questions and stuff like that.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Stealing your clerk. Do I know you from somewhere?
I don't know.
No, I'm talking to Ed.
Oh.
I'm being like, I don't know, you might.
Okay, next up, so that's really it about community outreach. You have anything else to add? either
No.
of you?
No. So I am available over the whole weekend. I would really prefer not to do 3 days in a row.
Right,
Okay?
you're not,
But I am,
Chris has got the 3 days in a row. The other 3 spots are gonna be divided.
okay, so, but I have no problem, you know, wherever you need to fit me in. I'll
Okay,
fit in,
Thank you, perfect. All right. That's it, about community outreach. Parks comprehensive plan. So Heidi was kind of the driver of the editing of the Parks comprehensive plan. And she was part of our ad hoc committee, so that leaves one person down on that ad hoc committee for the Parks comprehensive plan. But I don't want to stop because we were making some pretty good headway. I was tweaking chapter 5 with some of those percentages, getting the new numbers of how many people we have now living here. And so we're still in chapter 5. We need to add one more person to our ad hoc. Great.
Really?
Okay, thank you. And I'm pretty good at, I just need a little guidance on some of the technology in the editing department, so I can do it. I just
Oh, yeah.
do it, but you can do it too. So we can
Yeah.
share that.
Okay.
I'm not 100% confident in my
Um,
skills yet.
Yeah, as long as there's access to the existing documents that Heidi is working on.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yes,
Yeah, I can
perfect.
join and kind of take on editing. I mean, planning is my forte, so.
Perfect. All right, so that is really all I have in the Parks Comprehensive Plan. New business, really quick. I tasked Anna with putting together a Facebook page for parks. We got permission to do that. And it's almost completed. It's just not quite ready to go live yet. Myself and Anna currently are admins. We talked about making the board, what was that word, Anna? Where they can go in and like take off comments that are inappropriate or some, not mentors, but.
Okay, so I've already set up the page to have a filter on there. So any of the derogatory comments that, you know, the bad words, those will automatically not go on there. But the situation that we have right now with the board is we can either set up everybody on the board as an admin, an editor, a moderator, or an advertiser, well, no, not an advertiser, but an analyst. So we just need to decide if people want to be moderators. I can put them on here, send them an invite, and then from that point, they have the ability to go in there and delete off any kind of comments, or if you have somebody who's trolling the page, you know, starting trouble, you could put them on a block or suspend them from the page, things like that. So I just need to know if anybody wants to volunteer to be part of that. Then I can set them up with which way, you know, either an admin, an editor, or a monitor.
So just kind of think about that. I just thought more eyes out there would be better since it is a
Well,
park.
I think we should all have some involvement. in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, because we're not always all on Facebook all at the same time.
That's right, and the more eyes, the better, and we are the parks board.
Yeah. I agree. But I just think it's it's another way to get our community outreach involvement. It's gonna help streamline some of the confusion that we've had already with some of the things that are going on in the parks. You know, stay in front of the people, it creates less issues if we.
So is the difference then between moderator and editor being able to just filter and remove comments versus editors can actually post on behalf of the site?
Correct. So an editor can go in there and actually change people's, the page, you know, the posts that are put on there can go in there and correct them and change them if somebody misspelled something or did something along those lines. They can do that. The moderator, they can only monitor, they can only delete off comments that need to be deleted off.
Okay, I did not know that was a capability on Facebook. Huh, all right.
So what do you guys think?
So all I would need in order to move forward, so what I would need to know moving forward is not everybody's names are exactly what their Facebook profile handles are. So I would need for you guys to email me what your personal Facebook page is, so that I can send you the link request. And once you get that, you can go ahead and accept it, and then I can make you in there as a moderator or editor.
Sounds good.
I'm good with anything you want me to do.
I'm not a Facebooker myself, but.
It's okay.
But I'm pretty sure I can be just that channel that, I didn't have to,
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
We can find it on your phone, and then you can just look at it every once in a while. If you don't like something somebody says, the perfect plan for a moderator would be where somebody comes and says, oh my God, they removed all the playground equipment at Chinook to build a dog park, right?
Right.
And come back and say, no, that's not true.
Correct.
The equipment was removed for this reason, okay? And, that is, and you will get comments on there. You will get, vulgar people.
Yep.
That, I've heard all the,
Okay,
Yeah.
you will
It
get
is-
that.
yeah.
So somebody
That's what
needs
it
to
is.
go through that on a couple every few days and make sure
Yeah.
that our site is running properly.
can't we just have a sign up there that says, if you have a problem, just come to the meeting. Voice your problem in public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a valid thing.
People will.
Well, one of the nice things about it is that each person, when they're assigned, whether they're an editor or a moderator or an admin, is you get like this little badge next to your name. And so when somebody's going on to the Facebook page and they're making comments and maybe they're spectating what they think, or they're saying, oh, I think this is going to happen, or this is what's going to happen, and there's a bunch of people jump onto it, as a moderator or an editor or an admin, you go on there and immediately your name gets posted along with your little badge, and you say, no, this is actually what is truly happening. And it can stop the rumor mills right there, and it can give accurate information to the people who are on the page.
You sound like our gal, Anna.
She is.
I would just mess the whole thing up.
You're gonna be surprised. People are gonna throw things
Oh,
for
I
sale
know.
on there. They're
Yeah.
gonna throw doggy cat pictures on there, and
Oh my God.
it's just what people do. So
That's why I don't
it
like
does
it.
have to be monitored.
It does, but I think I would get, they would ban me from that.
Well,
I'd get in trouble.
So it's maybe less than just a few days out, Anna, from going live, right?
I can actually go live pretty much. I mean, it's technically there right now. I could make it really kind of beef it up, but I didn't really want to put it out there and blast it out to everybody until we had our situation resolved, like who was going to be moderating it, who was going to be really taking it over from here forward. I had volunteered to do some photography of the different parks and put some of those different pictures on there. And maybe, somebody can help me write up a little blurb about each park's highlights and what, people would want, and really kind of give the public more information about each park, maybe highlighting one a month or something along those lines. But I didn't want to get it too heavy right now and be the only one who was watching it. I'm the only one babysitting it. So as soon as I can get some help with that, I can really start pushing the information on there.
I can help, and we talked about that. I can help you with the park information. But I think the point is it's going to be on by the time the Santa Sawdust Festival is around. So we'll alert people to our Facebook page as well. And the survey will be also on that Facebook page.
But I think what Ann's saying, it can be live right now. All we need to do is figure out who's going to take what responsibility.
Yeah.
So I think you would make a perfect admin, and I think Ann would make a good admin, and the rest of us could be either monitors or whatever the other one was.
I think
Editors.
Just let us know. I mean, I'm not gonna, if you don't want to be, I think an editor has a little bit more. If someone just wants to be moderator, it doesn't matter to me. So, but I think, yeah.
Okay,
Perfect, just let Anna know. Anything else, Anna, on the Facebook page?
How do I get?
No, if anybody has any ideas, I guess, let me know.
Okay.
So Anna, tell me how I get a hold of you.
Her email,
Yes.
it's on the parks website. the
Is
city-
it?
Yep,
Okay, great. 'Cause it's
but I
not-
can get it to you too.
It's not in our paperwork. I'll go on the park
Okay.
website.
Okay, well, moving right along, discussion, I don't have anything, does anybody else have anything to discuss?
Do you have something that kind of relates to the report outs? Hey, thank you, Robert, for sending some of the documents on North Grand Canal and that project. It was really interesting to see. And just kind of had a question generally about what the kind of where the interest from that project is coming from, because it's a pretty extensive project. Seeing it's like just under $2.5 million, and just seeing some of the state of other parks, and this kind of seems really ambitious for what it would accomplish versus like what some of that funding could do distributed, and just kind of interested in where the interest in that project is coming from, and then also if like at all kind of what the level of council support and funding that is going to be, because a lot of that I wasn't clear on how much of that is really contingent upon grant funding. So that was just one thing that came up there regarding the North Grand Canal Park. I mean, I think there's some alternatives that could be better off considered that'd be a lot more affordable and increase access in a lot of ways. But that one just seemed kind of over the top.
Yeah, it's a large budget, so or a large cost estimate that's 2 years old, I think. So obviously, I think we all know going in the grocery store, things cost more than they did 2 years ago. It's the same thing in the parks world. But as far as speaking to interest, the project was shelved because of COVID, because we didn't feel that it was appropriate to have a project out there that required, a lot of public input when we could really only do Zoom, and most of us hadn't even figured Zoom out yet. But in any case, in the first phase of the project, which is the document I sent you, we had met with stakeholders, so businesses that were adjacent, like the golf course, the Parks Board, or the version of the Parks Board at that time, IGA, so a number of places. And so what it was like a visioning committee. What if, in best case, what would this park look like? But so that was part one. What was a great thing? What's the best case for this park? And it is expensive, and it's a lot there. There's a lot there. There's also a lot of history to the Northeast Grand Canal Park, going back to the founding of the city, what it was supposed to be. It was a place where you could take your boat, park it, go eat at a restaurant, go to the grocery store, get back in your boat. So I learned a lot about that in the first part of it. So it completed phase one. It landed at that $2.5 million mark. And so we're at phase two, which is to bring more people in and to take a fresh look at all of this. So going back to your comments, that's where it's important that the Parks Board participates, that we hear everybody's opinion about the project. I mean, obviously, we're not going to be writing a check for $2.5 million for this. It is probably money better spent somewhere. Historically, it's kind of an interesting area, just the investment that's gone into it in the past, and kind of the unfortunate lack of maintenance of some of that investment, or because we focus on something and then we forget about it later. And it was a big deal in the 90s when they built the wetland ponds there, et cetera. And now I think most people wouldn't know what was there. But the watershed company, in any case, going forward, they kind of have two missions. One is like I said, is to fine tune this and to also the scope of the project, you know, because there's a lot of stuff that can be done, and then going to the business plan. What kind of funding is out there, and can we scale this project to, you know, the community's willingness to what the community council is willing to pay for, and to what kind of funding resources are out there. And I'm no expert on what kind of parks funding is out there, if there's any other sources because of its tie into the fresh waterways. You're talking to a public works guy. I just see a drainage problem, you know, so but there's obviously there's park stuff there to maintain, but what we're doing with that, with the watershed company is really good at this too. They love this stuff. They come and present options, etc. It is to kind of scale this to the point that first of all, they've provided all the background information we need to apply for a grant. So when there's a cost estimate, we got a cost estimate, we've got to figure, we've got evidence that we had public meetings, we have public support to apply for funding. So that's a big part of their mission. And then the second part is to involve people and kind of focus this. So it should be an interesting process. And I certainly wouldn't disagree that it's definitely kind of the Disneyland of Northeast Grand Canal parks.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, that really helps. And yeah, it's interesting to know that history ties back to the initial plat development out here. Because yeah, I know that kind of some interesting things with the canals, but definitely with the growth and vegetation and how quickly that accumulates, it's hard to maintain that. Thank you.
Hey, Robert,
Yeah.
still have the beautiful maps that the Kirkwood, the watershed company made up for us on plan A, B, and C.
Oh, yeah. Could you repeat the first part of what you said?
Wondered who has the plans that were the size of the tabletop on plan A, B, and C, the choices.
Oh, well, I have the electronic copy. I can always, I mean, we could always reproduce the larger copies. But right now, I don't think I retain like the big copy, but the watershed company, it's the same company that developed those maps, is the same company doing phase 2. So, and we have full rights to the files that were used to make it. So they can definitely be reproduced full size if that's valuable.
I'm pretty, last time I saw him, it was like Bruce with the Fresh Waterways. I don't know who's the president of the Fresh Waterways now. He might have them, but
yeah, the hard copies he might, but I've got a printer. You can't see it here. I can print posters. So
that would really help. That, especially, I mean, they really are.
Oh, I saw the digital copy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Robert sent that over.
Okay, well, as long as he could see them, that he could, it really does make it clearer.
yeah. I mean, it's looking at it on a computer screen. It's a little hard, but if there's a desire, I mean, for your next meeting, I could have some printed up so you could have them on the table. Sometimes it's kind of neat just to sort of leave them in a public place, and they make people curious, even if it's not formal. But that's up to you guys. But the report also is on the city website, so it is available to the public to peruse.
Guys be interested in having a paper version to look at next time?
Yeah, and I think, you know, if it's one of the things that is going to be an effort of public outreach, again, I mean, we could potentially post that during our outreach at the Sand and Sawdust Festival.
I think
too,
we might be a little premature for that one.
Well, it'd just be letting people know that that's a project coming up, but it's something, another visual thing to look at that
Yes.
helps people orient to some of
Okay.
the efforts.
Well, and they're going into phase 2. They're gonna discuss this with more
That's
people.
true, that's true.
And this
Yeah.
relates to
Yeah.
the interest of like, provide us input on what you want to see with the rest of the parks by
Yeah.
participating in this comprehensive
Yeah.
plan update.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the consensus is if you can print those off and we can grab them from you, Robert,
Yeah, at least one.
yeah, before the end of the month, for the sand
Yeah,
park.
I see Keith once a week, so I'll give them to Keitha. She'll have them at the library for you. If that works, or if you'd like them sooner, let me know. But I'll be seeing her next Tuesday, and I'm sure she could keep them over there for you. And I'll just let her know someone from the Parks Board might pick them up.
And if you wanna ping me once you drop them off, I'll come pick them up. I'm gonna get all the other materials for the Sand and Sawdust Festival.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm the Sand and Sawdust Festival. When is that exactly?
June 24th through 26th.
Oh, okay. It just gives me an idea when when I should get those to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, all right. All right, so any reports? I have nothing to report. Anna, do you have anything to report that's separate?
I have nothing to report right now.
Hey, Chris, do you have anything?
No, I did not.
Ed?
I actually do. I had a conversation with John Martin about a week ago.
Okay.
And I was just very casual, and I was asking him about funding for the Parks Board, obviously, which is always my thing, right? And we
You mean
got
budget? You mean budgets?
budget.
Okay.
So what he kind of told me is this, and it made a lot of sense. He says, we came in front of the city council with 12 items that we were hoping to accomplish in time. He says, the bottom line is, he says, that's just too many items for the city, for all the different council people to deal with. We'll never get a consensus on that. What he suggested is that we focus on one or two things and go with that, make that our priority until we get it done, until we get funding for it, until we get that done. And I think he's right. I think I think it was a great idea what we did. The city council needed to hear what we wanted to do. But I think now we're at a point where we need to narrow it, and because everything is just a fight for money, certainly how I see it, is that we should narrow it down to one or two things that are really important to us. Again, I think like the dog park, and try and get something accomplished and try and get funding for something. I just heard this crazy number of $2.5 million, okay, which may or may not be used for this particular park, okay? And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice to get 40 grand to build a dog park?
Yeah, so part of that though, the PowerPoint that we did to the city council was, not just only our 12 items that we came up with, but it was also, about the ARPA funds too. So we were trying to tackle a lot of things.
Right, no, I understand
Letting them know that, we hadn't met for so long, and here we are. Don't forget us. We've talked, these are the things that we've earmarked. We know ARPA's out there, but we also know budget's out there, but you're not wrong. I mean,
Okay, so no, and I think what we did was exactly right. We needed to do that. We
Yes.
needed to get in front of the board and let them know we're
Yes.
alive and
and I
well.
don't think
Okay.
that we as a board know that we're gonna be able to tackle all 12 of those problems in 1 year, one budgetary,
Right.
biannual.
But his point was, if we want to get something done, to focus on one or two
Yeah.
things and drive towards that.
Yeah, and I think that when we get the request for the budget from Angie, we'll sit down and say, okay, we need to come up with the one or two things that we really probably more than.
And I don't
two
think you
things.
need to limit, like, that is true for ARPA funds when there's competitive funding, because it's
Right.
essentially a grant.
Right.
But when we're making our request for the budget, I mean, we should be explicit of what the costs are for
Yeah.
maintaining a parks
Yes.
program for the city. And it's city council's responsibility
Yeah.
to fund that accordingly, but I think it's our due diligence to at least show the extent of what's
Yeah.
necessary and not cut that short, because otherwise then, I mean, city funds there, yes, this council is responsible for determining how that's gonna get allocated. And when you give a laundry list during a competitive funding period, yeah, it makes it harder to allocate that. But some of that is like what you would want to take over and roll into this budget request when we do go into a formal budgeting.
Every funding is.
And that's where if we increase our coordination with Robert in Public Works, I mean, Public Works is the people that, they're our guys. They're the ones that are maintaining the work in the park, so we need to like kind of collaborate here a little bit better and make sure the parks is reflecting the budget needs for what is actually necessary for Robert and his crews to like go out and do the things that we're asking.
No, I totally agree with that. You're absolutely right. I feel we need a really strong relationship between our public works, and because bottom line is Public Works is getting our funding for the parks.
They're the staff that
Yeah,
do all of it.
that do all of that. And I'm not saying we should limit ourselves, but every single time you ask for money, you are in competition with other things.
Yeah.
And we have 7 different city council members, and each member will have a different idea of what the priority should be.
But during the biennium, that's a 2-year period, so there's a lot more going into the consideration of allocating those funds than there are during ARPA funds when it's just like money, you have to use it or lose it, and as to move really quickly. When we present 12 projects, it's not that they're not valuable projects, it's that they don't know that we can meet the funding deadlines to actually draw down that funding if that funds get allocated. So in that situation, it's like, I'm dealing with that right now for my own work, where it's like, we have till June 30th to spend down millions of dollars. It's really hard to get contracts in place with that close of a timeline. So some of the reasons why those projects didn't get funded was you couldn't demonstrate the timeline would meet the funding restrictions.
Okay, no, you make great points, and that's why you're here.
If I could interject as well, because I agree with what I'm hearing for sure, and I'm glad to hear that you talked with John. But what I did want to just mention to the board, since it is Public Works staff that is maintaining the parks, is that I believe, and I don't know for sure, that John Wagner will be requesting some additional staffing. So that's, there's other city projects besides, that are related that you might consider supporting or not supporting. It's up to you. But those are the bodies that keep the grass mowed and the irrigation systems working. And besides that, I didn't forget I think it was the last meeting or the meeting before that, I am working with John on a priority list by park, but it's just nuts and bolts type of stuff. It's not vision stuff. It's just, we need an irrigation system, or we need to pave this parking lot or repave it, etc. But we'll probably sometime in July, I'll make that available to you guys, or at least see it outside of the budget cycle.
Great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
At the last meeting in June for city council, that's when the budget calendar will come out and get approved. So you'll have a good idea of when you need to have all of your collaborations and
Okay.
ducks in a row.
Okay, thank you.
It's June now.
The
Yes,
last
the
meeting
last-
in June.
Right.
That's just the calendar. This whole process goes clear through December. So it's just the calendar that gives you the dates that you're gonna be requested to present if you're asking, and so on and so forth.
Do you know the date of that last meeting off the top of your head?
27th.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Craig, do you have anything to report?
No, I think I covered everything that I had.
Okay, Lisa, do you have anything that you want to report to us from council? Oh, you're on mute, Lisa.
Thought I unmuted, sorry. I did mention at council, and Robert, it sounds like, is working on getting you that comprehensive list. Just gonna take some time, but I did mention that at council. I kind of go over a little bit about what you've, briefly about the agenda and what all you guys have accomplished. So if there's something in particular that you want me to relay to council outside of what's discussed at a Parks Board meeting, just please reach out to me. Let me know what that is. Our next meeting is Monday evening, and I'm more than happy to bring that forward.
And actually, that reminded me, Craig, you were gonna do the 3-minute.
Yeah,
Craig is gonna actually do a 3-minute community comment that we will be at the San Ensadas Festival, and I know that Sarah needs to that list. So, but okay, thanks, Lisa.
You're welcome.
good reminder there.
Absolutely. Okay, and then park inspections. No issues in Chinook and Spinnaker from me. Chris, you had North Bay and Limpet.
Looking okay so far.
One thing I think, Robert, I saw on Facebook today that there might be a transient living all the way down at the end of North Bay where the picnic table is. His stuff was everywhere, and somebody said they saw someone living in a bush. So I took a screenshot and sent it to John Wagner and said, I just thought I'd let you know. And so he said, okay. And it was pretty trashy and full. So he said he would.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a park. It's not a place to live. Sometimes it's a bear, and it's not a person. But yeah, John's the right place to go. I suppose eventually they'll have the police department go have a look.
So I just, it was on Facebook today and that popped up.
I just pulled through the parking lot and have a look around.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. Anna, Marine View and South End Grand.
Everything looking fine.
Heidi had Texmar and Emerson, and I took a drive by, and they were fine. We need to divide those up. I can take Texmar. It's not too far from my house. That leaves Emerson. Is anybody live down by Emerson? It's kind of by the golf course.
Is that the one over on,
You can ask me what street.
It's off of,
It's by the golf course. It has the tennis courts.
yeah.
That's
But
not Weatherwax. It's close to Weatherwax.
It's actually on.
Bass,
Listen
it's
to
Bass,
Rule Book, isn't it?
Bass.
It isn't?
It's Bass, but
Okay,
yeah, I can do that because I go up Dolphin for the post
Okay,
office all the time.
perfect.
so Bass.
okay, I've got you down for Emerson. Thank you. All right, Ed, skate park and the Lions Club.
Well, nothing's really changed, but we're going to get a huge influx of people at Milo
Yeah.
during 4th of July because the farmer's market is incorporating with the senior center's event. So to kick off the farmer's market, to have it be to have it be more.
Is it gonna be in the back? It's not gonna be in the park area. It's gonna be
It's-
toward the back, right?
No, it's actually going to be on the grass between the park and the building. It's going to be on the grass. It's not going to be behind.
Oh, that doesn't seem very big.
Well,
Oh, okay.
I think they're also thinking about setting up behind at the end of the parking lot. And
Okay,
so, I mean, I don't have a floor
Okay.
plan on what they want to do yet, so.
okay. That sounds good. Addison, you're up.
Looks
Gunderson.
good.
Okay.
Gunderson and, yeah, North Grand Canal looks great.
Oh, I think I thought North Bay, it was North End. It was the Grand Canal. It
Yeah,
was,
Northeast
it was the Grand Canal where there was the transient. That was it, not North Bay. My bad,
Oh, and the.
my bad. All the way in the back. Sorry, Robert.
Either place people could.
Sorry, Robert.
You know,
It was the North End Grand Canal.
there's been a bear in downtown here recently, so, because that gets into water really quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure if there'd be a whole lot of space for someone to live in there, but who knows?
Yeah.
We got to save.
Kristen,
Yeah.
question on so this is more of an observation on Gunderson because I walk there with my dog all the time, and I appreciate all of the doggy bags and the receptacles to put your doggy waste in, but you can't walk 2 feet in that park without stepping in dog poo. It's everywhere. And so I don't know if anybody has any ideas of what else, can be done. But that is not a pleasant place to walk.
So Lisa, that is actually an adopt-a-park. So
Okay,
that's by the neighborhood there. Is it Mount St. Helens Loop?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and so, you know, I think, I still don't know who the contact person is, who's the lead on that. And Robert, your Public Works doesn't mow that, right? It's mowed by the community.
They manage that park.
The community
does.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I think it's just
That
gonna
is-
be a
that is
matter of
fine.
maybe I can walk around and knock on the doors and say, you know, this is a community park, you know, we need you guys to maintain it. I mean, it has to be picked up. There's hoops. I don't know, other than just talking to the community.
so that was my question is like, one, I didn't know it was an adopt-a-park, but my bad on that. But the second is who is in charge of that? Because I don't mind reaching out either. It's just I don't know who to reach out to.
Marshall has that information because they had to go through a public hearing, conditional use.
Yes,
To
yeah,
change it all over, so we have that filed, and I could probably just reach out to Marshall and get it.
okay. I mean, maybe a letter in the mail, letter on their doorstep, you know?
Thanks, Sarah. I'll follow up with Marshall and get that information.
Yeah, because they do have a dog poop station there.
They do, and they have bags and everything. It's just I was just shocked at how much. I mean, literally could not. I went up to go look at the book drop, and then I immediately walked back, and because it was everywhere. I couldn't even get to it without stepping in it. So, anyway,
The goose poop?
no, it was dog.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I've gone there too, and I mean, I know there's tons of goose poop, but I've never seen a sheer amount of dog poop to that degree. But yeah, we'll check it out. But the other thing would just be to have a couple more signs posted, maybe in the park, to remind people of that. But I mean, if they're not doing it, unfortunately, it's hard to say too, because that community is like, yeah, they're responsible for maintaining it, but that gets used by that entire area along the Great. Because it's like an area between the community club and the rest of those community areas.
And I have no problem. I'll follow up. So thank you.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We didn't have a lot to talk about today. We did, but we went pretty fast. So looks like our next meeting is July 13th here at 1 o'clock. Adjourn. I need a motion to adjourn at 1:58.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor? All
Aye.
right, adjourn 1:58. Thank you.
Aye.